Hey guys, it's Power Surge. I wanted to tell you guys a story about what happened to my family when I was in the 5th grade. My parents were almost killed over Beanie Babies, believe it or not. If you don't remember, Beanie Babies were those, little bean-filled animal toys that were like $3.99 or $4 a piece when they first came out, and they'd be available at Nordstrom's and stuff. People went crazy over these things. They started becoming collectibles. People were, trying to resell them for 70 bucks, 100 bucks, 3, 4. Some of these Beanie Babies were considered so rare that they were worth 500 or 1,000 bucks each. Well, my mother was very involved in the beanie trade, so to speak. She put together these convention shows where they would rent out a convention center in Vegas or somewhere, and they would fill them up with booths with people who had rare collectible Beanie Babies. This all sounds ridiculous, but people were really into these stuffed animals. So my mom was known in the beanie world. Anyway, my father has a business that has an office, and my mother was doing the Beanie Baby thing alongside the business, using the same facility. One day, 2 prospective kids come in, and they were nicely dressed kids, but they come in asking about some of the expensive Beanie Babies. The blue elephant, which was like 1,200 bucks for this stupid blue elephant. So they showed some interest. They say, we'll come back later when we have the money and stuff. Their initial visit was about noon. By 2 o'clock they had returned, but with metal pipes, and it was actually dumbbells. They took weightlifting equipment and used them as weapons. They basically walked right into the store, right into the office. First one just hits my mom over the head with the club, and she screams and goes down. Next guy immediately hits my dad, he was photocopying stuff at the time, so he had his back turned, but he hits my dad over the back of the head, and my dad and the guy who hit him go through a glass door and start brawling kind of in the street. They're fighting. And the other guy who hit my mom takes off and goes down to try to steal the Beanie Babies and whatever cash he can find. So my mom's, dialing 911 and trying to keep herself composed after just being hit in the head. She's freaking out. At this point, my dad and the other guy went through a glass door and they're in the street fighting. The guy fell back, and my dad was on top of him. His friend comes out with whatever he stole from the office and then hits my dad again. So my dad, kind of goes down, and the other guy gets up. The 2 guys get up and they go inside their van and start driving away. My dad's got the pipe because when the guy fell back, he dropped the weapon. So my dad's beating up this car, beating up their Toyota van with a pipe that, they dropped. Meanwhile, all the neighbors are watching this. They're all standing by, just doing nothing, while this guy that they've known for a decade is fighting for his life against these 2 robbers. So nobody did anything. Fortunately, they were able to apprehend the guys, at least one of them, once they saw the damage to the van. My dad had attacked the van with their own metal pipe, as it was driving away from the scene. Based on the van, and my dad had the weapon because the guy had dropped it, and my dad had actually damaged the van as it was leaving the commercial center. Witnesses took the license plate of the van. They had eyewitnesses to identify the people. One of the guys served about 2 years for battery, probably assault with the weapon, but he didn't turn his friend in, which terrified my mom because one of them was still on the loose. After 2 years, he got away with it, so he probably should have gotten attempted murder, which would have given him a longer sentence, but, it is what it is. Anyway, when I was a kid, I remember some kind of weird, eerie feeling when I was waiting to get picked up from school. They had the principals come in early, and they pulled me aside, me and my sister. Really late, at 5 o'clock, some family friend picked us up, took us to the hospital, and we got to see our parents they were bloodied up, Imagine how bloody you'd be if you were hit twice in the head with a pipe. So they were just drenched in blood. It was a really traumatic event. I just thought I'd share the story with you guys, how ridiculous it is that my parents almost died over Beanie Babies. In the description of this video, I've put a link to the LA Times article that talks about this event and when it happened. Was back in 1998. If you like this video, go ahead, hit subscribe or a thumbs up. Feel free to share it. And I hope you guys have a great day.